Okay, I believe we are live on Facebook. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Aging Out Institute. Today we are interviewing Dr. John DeGarmo, and we are very happy to have him here with us today. He's just back from Greece, a trip to Greece, and we're really tickled that he could join us today immediately following his trip. Dr. John DeGarmo is a leading foster care expert and consultant. He speaks about many different foster care topics around the world, Greece in point. In addition, Dr. DeGarmo walks his talk as he and his wife have fostered dozens of children for the past 10 years. He currently has 9 children in his household right now, 3 of whom are foster children. Let's now hear from Dr. DeGarmo about his perspective on the dangers facing youth aging out of foster care, why these problems are happening at such an alarming rate among these youth, and ways that we can help. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and say, welcome, Dr. DeGarmo. How are you doing today, and are you jet lagged?
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. A little jet lag, but it's kind of hard to do that when there's a house full of kids. You know, you got to get over pretty quick. And since my wife lives in Australia, I'm kind of used to going back and forth. So, grit and bear it.
Well, thank you again for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right. So, being an expert on foster care, I wanted to ask you just a few questions. The first question is, could you please set the stage for this interview by explaining what it is that you do and how it is that you are an expert on foster care?
Well, thank you for asking. So my wife and I have been foster parents for 15 years now. We've had over 50 kids come through the home. We've adopted 3. We've had 4 failed adoptions. We've had as many as 11 in the house at the very, very same time. We've had them as young as 27 hours of age and as old as 18 years of age and all in between. We've seen several children age out of the system in our home, some with positive results and some with very, very tragic results. You know, I never really thought I'd become a foster parent. It was never on my radar, I get my doctorate in it, written all these books. But I'm so grateful that I've been able to do so. When I used to teach English and history in a rural school as a foster parent, I was watching many of the students who are in my home go to school and watch them just plummet in school in regards to grades. Behavior goes up, academics go down. And I kept asking myself, why is this? Why is this? So there's my doctorate dissertation. I brought together teachers, foster parents, and caseworkers, social workers, all together in hopes to bring success to youth in foster care before they aged out of care and before they left school. Sadly, 55% of youth in foster care, when they do age out, will quit school. 65% will end up homeless. 75% will end up in jail. And the cycle will just repeat itself over and over and over again. 2 of the 3 that we've adopted are 3rd generation foster care, which means their parents and their grandparents were also in the foster care system, and the system had failed them. So for so many youth who age out, those are the grim realities.
Right. Yeah, it's so challenging to know what to do,
Right.
To help them in that situation, but that's part of what we're going to be talking about today. So help explain for anyone who's new to Aging Out Institute, to aging out in general, explain what aging out of foster care means.
Well, when a youth turns a certain age, in some states it's 18, in other states it's 21. In most of the world, as I discovered in Greece, it is the age of 18. They leave the foster care system. That means the system they leave the system. The system no longer works for them. So I want you to imagine when you were 18 years of age, being kicked out of your home and with no one to call, no one to help you when you have a flat tire on a rainy night, no place to go on Christmas Day, no one to sing you happy birthday, no one to help you when you are sick. That's what it's like for most of these youth who age out. Now, you and I would not do it to our own children. No, when they turn 18 years of age, and I have some of my birth children who are that age, they come back all the time. And of course they do. When they need help, they just pick up the phone and say, Daddy, I need help with this, I need help with that, and we're always there to support them. But for these youth who age out, for so many of them, they do not have that vital resource, that vital support that they need. They don't have the social skills. As we heard earlier, 55% drop out. They don't have the grades. They don't have the high school diploma. And it's just a life full of pitfalls and tragedies.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, why do youth end up aging out of foster care and facing all of these difficulties?
You know, for so many of these youth, the foster care system has failed them. Nobody likes being labeled a foster child. And for those youth who go from home to home to home to home, and I've worked with some youth who have been in 30, 40, 50 different homes, the foster care system, again, has failed them. And they go from school to school to school to school, and school fails them as well. They are anxious to leave. So there are some who say, you know what, I'm 18 years of age, I'm out of here. You know, I recall being 18 years old, and I thought I knew it all. I knew everything. My own son is going through that right now. He knows everything. But so these youth, they believe they know it all. They don't have the support. They don't have the resources. They don't have the diploma. They don't have the living skills and social skills. So many of them just say, you know what, I'm out of here. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to try it on my own. Other youth, when they do turn the age of, in some states, 18 years of age, or in other states, 21, the system says, okay, we can no longer help you. It is time for you to go on to your own. So there's a couple different reasons why they age out.
Yeah. Now, some states, they have services between the age of 18 and 21, but as you're saying, some young people just don't take advantage of them, correct?
That's right. That's right. There are some wonderful resources for them. And we had one who did age out of our house who took full advantage of those resources. And she was one of the very, very small percentage who graduated from college because she took advantage of those resources. And that was, we continue to help her and support her and encourage her as she left the system. Although in our home, when they come to our home, they're forever our children. So even though she was no longer a foster child in the system, she was still our child, still supported her. But yeah, sure, some of those ones that say, you know what, I don't want anything to do with foster care. I don't want to be a foster child. I don't want to do this anymore. So they do leave, yeah, regardless of the opportunities they may have.
And then they run into trouble, and then by the time they realize they really need the support, it might be after the age of 21.
Right.
And many of the state support systems are done.
Sure. Right. In this day and age, if somebody does not have a high school diploma, they're going to have a very, very difficult time trying to find any type of employment. So those youth who do leave out and who do age out voluntarily, they don't have the diploma. They don't have, again, the living skills, the social skills. How are they going to be able to take care of themselves? So that's why so many of them do end up homeless, and so many of them do turn to crime.
Right. And you had mentioned the graduation rate from college. Isn't it somewhere around 3% to 10%, somewhere in that range?
6% will go to college. Only 2% will graduate with a 4-year college degree.
Right. And that, even though you have youth who are motivated to go to college, then they still need support.
Right.
To succeed, because they academically may not quite be ready, socially may not quite be ready, or they're, like you said, they're completely on their own, and the only folks they have to lean on are friends and the staff.
Sure. There's college vacations, there's Thanksgiving break, there's Christmas break, there's spring break. Where do they go during that time? Where do they go during the long weekends? Who do they call when they say, you know what, I'm sick, I need someone to help me take me to the doctor? Who do they call when they say, I'm struggling with my academics here, can you please help me? Or I'm struggling with enrolling in college, or whatever it may be. Where is their support system?
Right. That's a great question. Well, we've identified many of the problems that these youth face when they age out. What would you say are the 3 key things that those who work with foster youth, what they can do to help these youth prepare to overcome these challenges and be ready to age out?
That's a great question, and I can think of those 3 very, very easily. They do have to have that support. When they leave the system, they still have to have some type of parental or adult support, whether it is a former foster parent, whether it is a current foster parent, whether it is a social or caseworker, whether it is a CASA worker or a mentor. They have to have somebody who will support them, so they can that child can turn to them in time of need, and that person can continue to encourage them and motivate them and provide help when they need it. They have to have a high school diploma. Oh my gosh, as I said earlier, if there's no high school diploma, how are they going to get a job when in this economy, when there are so many people unemployed who do have high school diplomas and college diplomas? How are these youth going to compete against these people? And finally, they have to have those important social skills. And what I mean by social skills, they need to know how to communicate to people. They need to know how to control their emotions and handle their emotions. For so many youth who do age out, when they're fighting with their emotions are churning inside of them, and they don't know how to handle them, they could unleash them in fits of anger or bouts of depression or even withdraw. And that's going to really prevent them socially from moving forward. And social skills cover a whole wide range of areas that they have to have in order to fit in society. If they're renting an apartment from somebody and they don't have the rent that month, or they have a problem, they have some type of problem, and they don't know how to interact socially with the landlord, that's going to be a problem. If they should have problems with the medical issues, and they go to the doctor and they again don't know how to communicate socially, that's going to be a problem. There's so many issues to the social aspect of it.
So it sounds like when I think of life skills, I think of what you are talking about, but even, how to do your laundry, how to change a tire. So there are the skills that are kind of more technical, mechanical skills, but then there's the interpersonal skills. And it sounds like what you're saying is these interpersonal skills are really the key. Maybe they can learn the other things after they leave, but they really need to learn the interpersonal skills earlier.
Right. And I do believe very much that they need those life skills. They need to know how to do their own cooking, their own cleaning. They need to know how to change a tire, how to fill out a job application. All those things are important. But if they don't have the social skills to go along with that, then it's all for naught. All for naught.
Right. Okay. Do you have an example of a youth who's aged out of foster care with flying colors thanks to the support and preparation that they received prior to leaving care?
Well, I do have an example of one who succeeded, but it was not with flying colors. I don't know of many who do really come out with flying colors. It is traumatic just being placed into foster care. And so many youth struggle with that trauma, inner trauma there. But we did, yes. We had a youth come to us when she was a teenager, and she did have many emotional anxieties and challenges in front of her. Went through 3 failed adoptions, people who adopted her and said they'll love her forever. Yet all 3 of those families abused her in some fashion and then gave her back to the state, so to speak. So when she came to us, you can imagine she had tremendous issues of trust, of attachment, feelings of love. But now she is 26 years of age. She is a college graduate. She is a social worker. She is a fantastic mother, and she really contributes to society. And so when she was with us, we were very consistent in teaching her those living skills, at the same time helping her develop those social skills. She would not be where she is today if she didn't have the knowledge of how to care for herself. Because when she left for college, she was on her own. Yeah, we came and helped her, but she was on her own. She was cooking, taking care of herself, getting her driver's license, enrolling for classes in college. So she had those living skills. At the same time, she had the social skills to back it up. And she is one of my success stories that I'm very, very proud of her.
That's great. That's a great example. And again, having that support really sounds like the key thing. And I know there are organizations out there that really strive to help find a mentor, or somebody who can help bridge the transition. And did this individual have any additional support, or is it really the family that supported them?
She did have her. She did have a former caseworker who would help her from time to time and was always a motivator and encourager. But it was mainly my wife and I. We just never gave up. We never gave up on her. She fought tooth and nail, and she tried to turn her back several times on us because, again, 3 families had adopted her and 3 families had abused her. So she didn't understand the concept of what family was. And her idea of what family was and unconditional love was so tragic, tragic. But we didn't give up on her, consistently stayed with her, and So yeah, we really helped see her through some difficult times, and we stood by her the entire time. And again, a wonderful success story. That's just one of a few that I have, but she's one that stands out in the forefront.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I think we have a nice segue into the next question when we're talking about mentors and being that support person for youth. If there are people watching this video who are interested in helping youth who are aging out of foster care prepare for adulthood, who aren't foster parents or already working for organizations, they're just individuals out there wanting to make a difference,
Right.
what are things that they can do to help in their areas?
That's a great question. When I travel the country and the world speaking, I tell people often that not everybody can be a foster parent. I understand. It's the hardest thing I have ever done. Most rewarding thing I've ever done, but it is so challenging at times. At the same time, I truly feel that every single person can help a child in foster care in some fashion. Mm-hmm. So for those youth who are preparing to age out, there are many ways people can help them. And at the same time, they're helping the foster parents. They're even helping the birth parents, because when the birth parents see their children succeeding and thriving, a part of the birth parent will heal as well. So these might look like maybe somebody owns their own business and they say, you know what, I'm going to give youth in foster care in my area an opportunity to build some job skills and build some social skills and be an intern at my work. Maybe somebody wants to be a mentor for a youth in foster care. Maybe they want to be a tutor for them with their schoolwork. Maybe they might want to teach them how to drive a car, or maybe transport them back and forth to job interviews. Maybe they want to teach them how to do a job interview. Perhaps there's somebody out there who says, you know what, I'm financially able to help them with school supplies, not only for high school, but for college as well. You know, when they get to college, school supplies are pretty expensive. Perhaps they want to give these children cooking lessons, or there's just a few of the opportunities and ideas they can help these children prepare before they leave the system and enter into society.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And I know with Aging Out Institute, we're building our database of organizations around the country that work with these youth who are aging out of foster care, preparing them to age out or after they've aged out. One thing that these folks could do is go to Aging Out Institute search form, look for organizations in their state, and then contact those organizations based on their description and say, hey, is there any way that I can help? So one way they can help is to connect with an organization near you, a nonprofit, or I guess primarily they're nonprofits, to find a way to connect with the youth.
Pick up your phone and call your local child welfare agency, call your local foster care agency, call your local foster parent association. Perhaps there's some faith-based organizations in the community you live in that use an outreach program to help youth in foster care. Yeah, absolutely, right.
Yep, and use Google. As we're building our database, we don't have all the programs in there yet. So get on a search engine and put in terms like foster care, aging out, mentoring, education, driving skills, whatever you can think of in ways that, like you're saying, might match your own skills, right, that could help you find organizations near you that you could connect with.
I just published an article today. It's actually on my website and social media today, called "The Tragedy of Turning 18 Years Old, Aging Out of Foster Care." And it is tragic for so many youth. That should be a wonderful time when we turn 18 years of age. It should be, those are supposed to be the happiest days of our lives. But for so many youth in foster care, it is a time of fear, of unknown, of anxiety, and tragedy.
Right. Unfortunately, but I know in my work with Aging Out Institute that there are a lot of people out there who want to help. I've been contacted, I don't know how many times, by people who are wanting us to help them connect with organizations. Right. So I know there are a lot of folks out there. I think awareness is building.
Yes.
And that's a good thing, because then more and more people can know that there's an opportunity to help.
Right. Again, not everybody can be a foster parent, but everybody can help in some way. Absolutely.
Right. Exactly. And I have an echo here. But I wanted to. My apologies. I have an echo.
That's all right.
I don't know why. For those who might be interested, there is an opportunity through Aging Out Institute to help by building our database within your state. So if anyone's interested in helping Aging Out Institute build their database of programs and organizations, please message us through the contact form on agingoutinstitute.org, and we can talk to you more about what it means to be an AOI advocate for your state. And I do see we have a couple more minutes, so if I may ask you one more question.
Sure.
You are aware, of course, that we have an awards program coming up next year. Aging Out Institute is launching an awards program to recognize foster parents and organizations that are doing great things to help prepare youth to age out and to support them after they've aged out of foster care. And Dr. DeGarmo has been very generous in offering his time to be one of the judges for this initial launch of this program. And so I just wanted to ask you, if I may, what are your thoughts on having an awards program like this? What's the value and benefit of taking the time to recognize these folks and identifying the strategies that they're using?
Well, there's a few things. First of all, to thank them for what they do for youth to age out of foster care. You know, I'm actually the National Development Director of a residential therapeutical group home in my area for boys in foster care before they age out. And I know myself that I can't do it all by myself, that everybody comes together to help. So I'm always so grateful for people who are looking for ways to help. So it's a way for thanking people. It is a way of learning from others, which I think is very, very important. We all come together. You know, no one's doing it perfect, but there are so many people who are doing so many things well. So we take something from this person, from that person, from this organization, and that organization, and we bring it all together. That's fantastic. And finally, awareness. I really believe awareness equals advocacy. Before I was a foster parent, I had no idea about foster care. I had lots of misconceptions. And I think that general public is that way. In fact, I know the general public is that way. Foster care is not on people's radar. But when we bring more information to them, we bring awareness to them, they may stand up and say, you know what? I want to help. So it's a win-win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you very much for joining the echo here at the end. But I look forward to working with the judging. And thank you to everyone here today. And it will be recorded, and everyone will be able to view this after the fact, as it's recorded at any time. So any other final thoughts, Dr. DeGarmo?
You know what? There's roughly, on any given day in America, there are roughly 500,000 youth in the foster care system. About 125,000 of them will age out of the system every year. And the statistics I said earlier are very, very grim. 55% drop out of school, 65% end up homeless, 75% end up in jail. But if we all come together, and we bring our own strengths, we can save and help these children and help them contribute to society and be, and thrive and succeed. And that's what we're here for. These children need us. They need us to care for them.
Yes. Absolutely. And I encourage everyone to think of a way somehow you can help.
Right.
So thank you so much. Have a wonderful afternoon. And thanks everyone.
Thank you. Cheerio. Okay.